Hello friends. So today we are going to see about projectile motion. Okay. So first of all we'll see what is a projectile. Projectile means something we have to throw, something that has been thrown. Okay. That is the projectile. Okay. If we throw the ball at an angle like this. Okay. So this is the horizontal, and let's say something we throw a ball or a stone or something, we throw at an angle like this, it will go like this, and that will make that we say is a projectile in two dimension. Okay, because the movement is along two directions at the same time, isn't it? So let's say this is your y axis and this is your x axis. Okay, the stone that is going like this is moving along y also, is moving along x also. Okay, so the motion is along two directions at the same time. That's why it is two dimensional motion. Okay, so we'll try to analyze the height, what the height the stone will attain, what is the time of flight going to be, how far it is going to fall out, means from where we have thrown it, right? Okay, so I have told. So we'll use simulation to see exactly, but I'm just giving you an idea. Let's say there is a stone, you throw it at some angle. We are going to learn about two-dimensional motion, two-dimensional projectile. Okay, the motion of this projectile, sorry, is along y direction and along the x direction at the same time. This is two-dimensional projectile thrown at, thrown with some initial speed. Okay, so initial speed, let's say, denoted by u. So this projectile has been thrown with some initial speed at some angle from the horizontal. Okay, sorry. So once we have thrown it, okay, while the projectile was in our hand, okay, we were applying some force on it. Okay, and we were trying to, initially when it was, let's say we are throwing a stone. Okay, so when it is in our hand, it is at rest. Okay, we are trying to throw it with some velocity, let's say 10 meters per second. Okay, so we'll try to give some force to it. Once it is at a speed of 10 meter per second, it is released from our hand. So once it is, not in our hand, it has been thrown, let's say here. So there is only one force acting, that is of the weight, the gravitational force. Okay, there is no other force. Once it is out of our hands, there is no other force acting on this projectile apart from the gravity force. Okay, the force we applied using our hands to give some initial velocity. Okay, but after that there is only one force when it is released. Once it is released, there is only one force acting, mg. Okay, that is the basic thing. So we have thrown this stone with some initial velocity, let's say u. Now we'll see what is going to be the fate of this one. Okay, so we'll try to see this by the help of this simulation. Okay, okay. Now, so there are various parameters. The mass of the projectile that we are throwing, we can change that. The diameter also. So the diameter is not going to make any difference. Why? Because for our case, we'll not assume the air resistance. Okay, the air resistance is not going to be there, so the diameter of the projectile is not going to make a difference. Okay, and is mass going to make a difference? No, we'll see. We'll run all the possibilities, we'll run all the simulation to see if the mass is going to make a difference or not. But from what we know, that the mass is not going to make a difference, because ultimately, we are doing kinematics. Okay, kinematics, and the acceleration we is what will decide the velocity and everything. Okay, so mass is not going to make a difference, of course. So no matter what the mass of this one be, we keep the projectile, it is not going to make any difference. If we talk about the range or the maximum height or the time of flight, it's not going to make a difference. Okay, and G for our case we take as 10, so I'll make it as 10. Okay, 10 meter per second square. Air resistance is negligible. Okay, fine. So this is a projectile. Now see, let's say we throw the projectile at an angle of 60 degrees, okay, at an initial speed of, let's say, 20 meter per second, okay. So this is the, okay, so it overshot, okay, let me just, okay, this is the path of this one, okay. I'll just show it once again. See, this is the path. So how far it has fallen from the cannon is the range, okay. This is the range. So let's see what is the range of this one. This is around 34 meters, okay. From the starting point it has fallen, okay. And if you try to find out the height of this point, the maximum height is around 15 meters, okay. The maximum height is 15 meters. Time to reach the maximum height is 1.7. So this is how we can measure all the parameters and everything. We can gain the information from this simulation, okay. Now I'll explain how the things are working exactly here, and then we'll run the simulation and see if it is actually true or not, okay. Okay, so fine. Now see what is happening here. Okay, I'll give a brief introduction of the thing first. Okay, let me use this only. So this is the ground, okay. Let's say you throw a projectile from here at an initial speed of something, let's say 10 meters per second, okay, or let's say 20 meter per second, okay. Let's make it 20 instead of 10, and you throw it at an angle of, let's say, 30 degrees. So it will go like this, okay. And then, okay, fine. So now if you try to analyze that what exactly is happening here, okay. So again, the knowledge of vectors is very important to understand exactly what is happening, okay. So we'll just break down the motion of the projectile in the vertical direction and the horizontal direction and try to analyze the two directions independently, okay. This projectile is moving along x also, along y also. X and y are perpendicular direction, mutually perpendicular directions, right? So, and what is the force in the x direction? If once it is released, okay, once you have shot it with this speed 20 meter per second at an angle 30, so now the projectile is on its own, right? So now whatever are the forces acting on it will decide what the acceleration, and the acceleration will decide what the velocity is going to be, and the velocity will decide what the position is going to be at what time, right? That is what we know, we have learned from kinematics. That is what we have learned, right? Okay. Now the initial velocity, if we try to break down, this is, let's say, magnitude 20. So this component, the x component of the velocity, so this was the velocity 20 meter per second, okay, at an angle of 30 degrees. So we know the x component is 20 sine 30 and the y component is 20 cos 30, sorry, this one is 20 cos 30 and this is 20 sine 30, the vertical component is, so the initial speed in the horizontal direction is 20 cos 30. That is how much? Cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So this is 10 root 3 meters per second. This is 20 sine 30. That is 10 meters per second, right? Because sine 30 is half. So the upward speed initially was 10 meter per second, and the horizontal speed is 10 root 3 meter per second. Now these components will change only if there is some acceleration, because acceleration is what is responsible for a change in speed or velocity, right? So what are the forces in the horizontal direction? Is there any force? No. In the horizontal direction there is no force. Okay, we are assuming that there is no air drag. Okay, so in the horizontal direction there is no force. That means the acceleration in the x direction is what? Zero. What is the acceleration in the y direction? It is acceleration due to the gravity downwards, and we take 10, so this is minus 10 meter per second square, if we say. Okay, so it is downwards 10 meter per second square is the acceleration in the y direction. So that means this speed, these were the two components of the initial speed: 10 root 3 in the horizontal direction, 10 meters in the vertical direction. Which one of these two will change? Only the y direction speed will change. Why? Because the acceleration has some value in the y direction only. Okay, and we very well know that if there is an acceleration, then only the velocity will change, obviously. Okay, so this velocity will not change anytime, okay, during this whole course of journey of the projectile, and the vertical velocity is going to change. Okay, and we already know the equation, right? So 10 meters, so we can use the equation of motion, the three equation of motion that we know, we can easily use that. So the only thing that is common between the x and y, the time. Okay, time. So now let's talk about this point. This point is the highest point. So what has been the displacement in the y direction? This much, the maximum height, okay, is the displacement in the y direction. What has been the displacement in the x direction? This much, okay. What is the speed of this? The maximum height is the point where the vertical component, initially it was 10, now at this point it has become 0, right? It has become 0, so it has only the horizontal component left out, and it was 10 root 3 initially. Also at this point also it will be 10 root 3, because it is not changing at any time, right? It is not changing, right? So how much is the time taken to reach the maximum height? Okay, the time taken to reach the maximum height is the time this initial velocity of 10 is becoming 0, right? So that means v is equal to u plus at. This one, if I use v, that is the final velocity, is 0. Initially it was 10 in the vertical direction only, I'm talking, plus acceleration is minus 10 into time. So t is equal to 1. That means 1 second it takes to reach the maximum height. Okay, as I said, we treat the vertical direction and the horizontal direction, we can treat independently. Okay, in the vertical direction the speed became 0. Okay, we found out the time, and we know the point where this vertical speed is becoming, and we know that the point where the vertical speed is becoming 0 is the topmost point, right? Here it is moving only in at this point it has only one component, that is the horizontal component. It is no more moving upwards. Okay, so that means to reach the maximum height it took 1 second. Okay, and the whole journey is symmetrical, so another 1 second it will reach to it will take to reach the this point, the finish point. Okay, so now let's analyze this whole thing using the simulation. Okay, so now we'll try to simulate the whole situation, the projectile motion, and see what we have learned is actually true or not, and how the velocity is changing, how the acceleration, what the acceleration is at what time. Okay, and the components of velocity. Okay, so that is the main thing that we are discussing here, right? So what I have told you until now, that the projectile was thrown with some velocity. Okay, this was the initial velocity. It had some horizontal component and it had some vertical component, right? This is the initial velocity, this is the u initial. Okay, initial in the x, initial in the y direction. This was your u in total. Okay, the resultant means the vector sum of ux and uy is the u vector, obviously. Okay, it was thrown at some angle theta. Okay, this is the case in hand. Okay, now I told you, because the force is only in the vertical direction, the force of gravity, there is no force in the horizontal direction, the acceleration is only in the vertical direction, so only this part of the velocity is changing, the horizontal part is not changing. Okay, and this is what we will try to see here. Okay, so see, now in this simulation, the speed I have kept as 15 meters here. Okay, the initial speed with which the projectile is being thrown at an angle of 60 degree. Okay, so now I'll just show this is the path. Okay, okay, now let's see it in a slow motion. Let's see. Okay, see this one, the vertical component is showing the vertical component at that time, this is showing the horizontal component of the same time. So as I have told you that the vertical component will change of the velocity, the velocity vector is visible, right? So, and obviously the velocity is tangentially, right? The direction of the velocity, all along the path is tangential. Okay, we know, but the components are vertical and we can resolve at any time. So I have told you that only the vertical component will change. So let's see now, see, as it is going up, as it is going up sorry, so as it is going up, what is happening? It's like, when you throw something vertically upwards, the speed gradually decreases, it comes to a halt and then again start falling back. Okay, so that is what is happening exactly in the vertical direction. Okay, so it is just a combination of two motions. Okay, vertical and fine. So if you throw something vertically upward, what will happen? It will go reach the maximum height, the velocity here becomes zero, and then again start falling back. Same thing is happening. Okay, now again see, the vertical component has diminished. At the highest point, it will become zero. See, so at the highest point, it has become zero. It is not exactly the highest point, it is a little later, but still you can understand from here. Okay, now again see what is happening at the topmost point. At the topmost point, the only the horizontal part remains, the vertical part totally becomes zero. So this is the vector at the topmost point, same as the velocity vector, because that is the only component. Okay, and now after the highest point, because there is an acceleration, now it will start gaining velocity in the vertically downwards direction. Okay, so now you'll see the downward direction, there is a little bit, see, so there is a little bit here. Now if I play again, now see, now the vertical component of the velocity is there once again in the downward direction this time, because it has started gaining speed in the downward direction. Okay, now again see, it will increase. Okay, and when it will again touch down the ground, it will become the same as the initial. Okay, so initially if it was uy, so on the downward track it becomes like this. Okay, it becomes like this. So downward, just when it touches, the velocity has become this. Okay, the vertical component has again became the same amount, equal to uy it was initially, and ux is obviously the same as it has been through the journey all along. Okay, so this is the case. Okay, and at the topmost point, fine. Now we can give our own values also. So if you see, for this one, the angle is 60 degrees, the speed of projection is 15 meter per second. So this is the speed. Okay, now we can actually verify our what we have discussed. We can verify that from here. Okay, so what should be the time of flight? Okay, the whole journey is symmetrical, okay. So the time to reach the maximum is the same as the time to reach from maximum to again back to the ground. Okay, so what's the time to reach the maximum? As I have told already, the time to reach the maximum is the time in which the vertical component of the velocity will become zero, right? So vertical component was uy initially, so u is equal to v. Finally, the vertical component has become zero. Plus acceleration is what? So v is equal to u plus at formula. So this is essentially what? V plus at. At is minus 10. Okay. So sorry. Okay, I have written, so it should be zero here. Sorry. Yes. So final velocity is zero. Uy v is equal to u plus at, so that gives you time to reach the maximum is uy upon g. That is very obvious also, right? That is very, so that is very obvious. Time to reach the maximum uy upon g, time to reach the maximum height. Time of flight will be double of this, right? Time of flight will be 2uy upon g, correct? So we have found out the time of flight, so we have understood this thing. Okay, so if I show you the components of acceleration, see, acceleration is only in the downward direction at all times, right? Only one component of acceleration. Okay, now velocity I've already told, the total and the component. Again, see, in slow motion it is like this, only the vertical one changes. Okay, only the vertical one changes. See, decreases, the vertical one decreases, becomes zero, then again increases and becomes like it was initially. Okay, so this is how the whole thing, and we have the equation of motion, so we can analyze the two situations. And time is the connecting thing between the x direction movement and the y direction movement. Time, okay, because half, so the maximum distance is range. Half the maximum distance, half of the range, the maximum distance it has fallen on the ground from the initial point is called as range. Okay, half of that is the point when it is at the maximum point, right? So we can connect and correlate, obviously, right? So that is very understandable. Fine. When it is at the maximum height, at that time, that is the range. Okay, so So let's find out the range also. Okay, half of the range is the maximum distance it will land from the initial point. Half of that is the point when it is at the maximum point. Okay, what has been the time to reach the maximum height? We have found out, right? U y upon g. The total time of flight is 2u upon g, right? Correct. So how much distance is covered in this much time in the horizontal direction? Horizontal direction, the speed is not changing at all, right? The speed is not changing. So the distance simply will be what? Time of flight into the horizontal distance, right? The time of flight into the horizontal speed, correct? So if I say the time of flight is the range is nothing but the time of flight into ux, correct? So that is 2uy upon g into ux is the range of the projectile. Okay, so we'll discuss this in detail in the next video.